all the other things that led me to that point, right, are the things that made me who I am today, right? So I didn't look at it ever as a win or a loss or a situation where I could gain. All I knew is that I wanted to get to a certain place, right? I wanted to do certain things, but I had to become that person in the long run. I think Jim Rohn had a saying that he says, if you mess around and win the lottery one day and you win $1 million, you better be quick in becoming a millionaire. And he says that because you can win $1 million, but you have to be a millionaire to keep $1 million, right? So all the rich people in the world could lose all their money, all their billions and millions, but the smartest people in the world say that money will end up in the same hands because those people are already millionaires here, right? So that is going to be something that I'm going to leave you guys with. Who are you becoming? Okay? Right. So, nextly, I think one of the questions that was brought to me by your coach, which is a great question, is how to act as a teammate. What should you expect as a teammate? And that's a great question because a lot of people mean well when they're teammates and they want to make sure that the team is doing everything they need to be doing and everybody shows up on time and everybody knows what positions they're playing. And shoot, me when I was younger, I used to forget my skates or forget certain things. So that lady over there, my sister, I'm so grateful for, that's taken care of me for so long, she was in charge of making sure I had all my stuff. But one of the best things that you can do as a teammate is to be a lighthouse instead of a tugboat. And why do I say that? Well, what are the characteristics of a lighthouse? A lighthouse is very still. They obviously don't move. They don't beg anything. They don't tow anything. They're not even loud or boisterous. It just kind of sits there unassumingly, right? Because a lighthouse has one characteristic that is better than all the rest. They shine bright under any conditions. It doesn't matter. The lighthouse still shines bright. What does a tugboat do? Well, a tugboat tries to pull things into a certain position. A tugboat's always begging or using energy to get something to do what it wants it to do. I think that being a lighthouse will probably be more profitable to your team and a lot easier. And what do I mean by that? Well, if you come into a gym and your two best players stand up straight, they have confidence, they wear the right gear, they don't forget things, they're on time, they have a great attitude, that's a good example of a lighthouse. That's the best way, in my opinion, to be a teammate. It doesn't mean that you can't help hold your teammates accountable, right? But one thing I've learned from mentoring and starting my own nonprofit and being on a lot of different teams, lacrosse, volleyball, hockey, I learned that you can't force anybody to do anything that they don't want to do. And the best way to get it to backfire on you is to beg them or push them. But if you can be a lighthouse and shine as bright as you can, that's going to be the best way to be a teammate, in my opinion, right? So when I ask you guys, who are you becoming and what are the experiences that you have and how grateful are you for these experiences, that's the type of thing that I mean, where you actually take an interest in being a good teammate and how can I best be a good teammate, right? So I know that I talked to your coach for a minute before I got here, and I just want to open up this moment for you guys to ask me any questions, because I know that when I was coming up, beach volleyball, and it probably still isn't the forefront of people's mind as a professional sport. So there's probably a lot of questions, like what position do I play? What are some of the coolest places I've been to? Anybody got any questions? Yep. Wait, what's your name?
Braylon.
Braylon, stand up. All right.
How did you transition from lacrosse and hockey to volleyball?
Well, that's a funny story because I used to come and watch my sister play volleyball in that gym over there. She played varsity volleyball. You can sit down, it's okay. She used to play varsity volleyball here, and at the time, and up until college, I thought, man, this is just a girl sport. There's no way I'll ever play volleyball, but I liked watching. I was around it a lot. I played lacrosse in college, and when I got there, one of my Canadian teammates, because it's more prominent over there for boys volleyball, he said, why don't you come down to the rec and play some volleyball? I said, I don't play volleyball, I'm a lacrosse player, there's no way. And he said, there's gonna be girls there. I said, I'll be right there. So that's how I started playing volleyball, right? But when I got there, I quickly realized that this is a man's sport. I mean, it's a woman's sport just as much as it is a man's sport, but men can play it, and it's not a feminine thing to play volleyball. I would challenge anybody to come to the beach and stand next to, all these guys are a lot taller than me, but the big buff 6'8", 6'5", 7-footers, guys from, I just played a guy from the Netherlands that's 6'8" Olympian. And that's, you know, that is a manly man there, you know, a 6'8" Viking, you know what I'm saying? So that's kind of how I got started into playing volleyball, is just rec league volleyball. I really didn't have too much experience. But once I found volleyball, I quickly decided in my mind that that's exactly what I wanted to do. I didn't find beach volleyball till a little bit later. And I found out that they had this thing going on in California called the AVP. It's all over the States now, but when I saw it, it wasn't like it was something where I wanted to go try it. I knew that it was hockey and lacrosse, goodbye. I wanted to play beach. In my mind, I was already a professional beach volleyball player, even though I knew there were a lot of hurdles that I had to get over. So, yeah, I mean, it's crazy to think that, you know, if you would have told me that I would travel the world playing beach volleyball, if you would have told me that I would be on a billboard in Times Square or on a national campaign, international campaign for a supplement company, or that I would get a job speaking publicly for Hyundai USA, which is a motor company. If you would have told me that when I was sitting in that gym over there, or sitting in seats similar to yours, I would tell you I would have had a pretty good laugh at that, right? But who I became in the process of all these things that I'm telling you, right, got me to that space. And it's not something that I really had to think about how I was going to do it. I just knew that I wanted to do it, and I knew that you know, all the little trials and tribulations were probably going to be, honestly, the most exciting part about it anyway. These trophies and banners are going to sit here forever, but what you're going to remember the most are the experience when you're, you know, traveling to North Branch for a volleyball tournament, or, you know, you guys, the one time the van broke down but we had a blast, you know, whatever it may be. Those are going to be the times that you're going to remember. So when I say you walk into this gym and be grateful for what you got, man, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Anybody else got any good questions? That was a good one. Yep.
What's your best way to calm down
during a game? Well, that's a really good question too, because I find it very hard to calm down during a game. It's almost something that you have to get ahead of before you get there, right? So if you know your back has been killing you and you take a pain medication for it, you can't wait till that pain wears off. You got to kind of stay ahead of that pain, right? So I stay ahead of the hard situations by doing my breathing exercises and doing my visualizations, so that when I get into a game, it's nothing. I've already done it 100 times, and the breathing really gets my body it gets my nervous system into a state where it can't be bothered. But if I'm focused on all the other things, the external things that I can't control, right, outside of my breathing, then I start to get into trouble, because I start to worry about what the ref said, what the fans are saying, my teammate didn't get this one. But realistically, in that moment, the only thing that I can control is my breath. So beforehand, definitely something that you want to do. I coach a lot of people now. I live in Florida. I coach all the time, and that's one of the big things. I mean, I'll stop practice and I'll say, all right, it's getting a little hectic out here. Everybody stop. We're going to take 2 breaths in. We're going to take a breath in, breath out, breath in, breath out, just to refocus and reset my mind. So that's probably the number one thing I do, because there's no physical way that you're going to get your body and mind to calm down by just, you know, thinking about it or trying harder. You can't try harder to get something done. You have to be able to come at it from a different perspective than just like the physical, if that makes sense. Cool. And you can apply that to everything. I mean, I use it like I said, I speak to people for Hyundai. So before I get on stage in front of 100 people, that's a little bit nerve-wracking, right? So every single time, no matter if I feel good or I feel bad, I do my breath work, because I know that when I get out there, it's already too late for me to try to backtrack or feel good, right? You got to do it. You got to do it beforehand. Yep.
What position do you play?
So for about 10 out of the past 12 years, I've been a blocker, which at 6'1" is not something that is done maybe ever or often at my level. Like I said, most of the guys are taller than, most of the women are taller than me. I have jumped very well over a long period of time, very grateful for that. But over the past 2 years, I've been a defender. So in beach volleyball, it's only 2-on-2, I don't know if you know. You should look up the AVP. It's pretty mind-blowing what you can see two people do on a volleyball court. But the blocker primarily is a guy, even if he serves, he runs up to the net and blocks. That's pretty much what I've done, and it takes a lot of energy. I mean, imagine going to the beach. You guys go to the beach and you walk from the car to the water, and most people, they're carrying all their stuff. They can barely walk through the sand. The sand's hot. Imagine doing that for 3 days in 90-degree weather at 6'1", using max jump every single time over 3 days. That is very taxing on the mind and body. So I'm pretty blessed to be able to do it, but now I'm a defender. I get to sit back there and send my big 6'8" guy up there to go block and do what I used to do. So right now I'm a defender. Yeah.
Can you explain to them how twos works? Because they probably don't understand how two volleyball works.
Yeah, so doubles volleyball, quite a bit different from the indoor scene. The indoor scene is pretty much, it's a much bigger court in indoor. Beach volleyball is a smaller court. We use a softer ball. It's not as hard as the one you guys use. And obviously, you have a designated setter when you're playing indoor, right? And the ball is pushed across the net for the most part. So you're hitting all these balls that are pushed across the net, and you're mainly using a lot of force, right? When you're playing indoor, it's a hit hard game, right? In beach volleyball, it's more of a chess game. We play 2 out of 3, best of 3, 21, and if we go to a third set, it's to 15. But most of the setting and most of the play is just basically up and down, and there are shots that are mixed in. It's not always hitting the ball hard. So it's more of a chess match. You have to actually think what the other team's tendencies are based on what they're doing. So if I know a guy likes to hit, but he got blocked on the next one, then that means that he's probably still gonna hit again, right? But if there's a guy that does both, now the book on him is, well, he got blocked on that last one, hitting it hard, so this time he's probably gonna hit a shot. But it's just me back there, so I have to figure it out on my own as a defender on what's gonna be happening. It's just 2-on-2. And so we play tournaments instead of matches. In indoor, you go and you play a match against another team, mainly in college, but in beach volleyball, it's like a 2 to 3 day tournament where you're playing 2 to 4 to 5 matches in one day. So it's very much a war of attrition, or a endurance sport, you would say. We are, compared to other sports, we don't make a ton of money like basketball or football or baseball, but what I will tell you is that the people in the community in beach volleyball have afforded me to get jobs and gigs and things that I do now in my everyday life that can make me money. So like I said, the public speaking gig that I got working for Hyundai over the last 7 years was through a volleyball friend who thought that, hey, you'd be a good person for this job. So, it's not really something that I thought that I was going to be doing, but again, it's one of those situations where, I let it flow, and it kind of pushed me into an area that I found out that I really enjoy. Yeah, anything else? Yeah.
How long did it take you to transition from hockey and lacrosse? How long did it take you to become a professional beach volleyball?
Professionally, it probably took a total of 4 years. But where I think I did very well is I didn't worry about if I was going to go to a tournament and I wasn't good enough. It's one of those experiences again where I knew that if I went there and got beat up a little bit, that it was going to make me better that much faster, right? So before I was really a professional, probably about 4 years, but I was throwing myself constantly into situations where I knew I probably really didn't have much of a chance. There's a slight chance, you know, not pessimistic about it, but I knew, man, if I really want to get to here, I better start throwing myself in right here so that these people that I'm playing against and trying to be better than are going to make me better that much faster, right? It's like being on a team of everybody's better than you. You're the worst player. Well, how much faster are you going to grow by being around a bunch of people that are high performers, right? Somebody else had another question. Yeah.
So, did you say you started with indoor?
Well, actually, I kind of started with beach. The first time I ever played was indoor, but the first time consistently playing was like at a place around here, you know where like Sharky's or Madden's is? Those are the places I started playing at. And it's funny you asked that question because when I said I knew right away that I wanted to play professional beach volleyball, this was the only option that I had living in Genesee County was to go to those places, right? So everyone else would go there to party. I would stay away from that because I knew my goal was this pie in the sky AVP. It's out there. I want to get there, but I don't know how I'm going to do it. But I know partying with everybody else that's just there to have fun is probably not going to get me there. Other people didn't really like that too much because they thought, hey, this guy, who's he think he is? He's going to come here and be serious? I didn't care.
So how'd you get into like beach professionally then? Like what was the process there?
Actually, when I played 1 year of club volleyball at Michigan State after I played lacrosse in college at Davenport. And that year of club was very instrumental in my fundamentals because it taught me a lot. It refined my approach. It refined my arm swing. I had a great time, but at the same time, I knew I wanted to play beach, and I was there to learn how to pass and do all of the parts of volleyball. And they had me playing middle at Michigan State, which was just basically come in the front row, you know, and all you do is block and hit. There's no passing involved. So although my coach was a great man, Santi Pirelli there at Michigan State, I knew that it didn't align with my goals and my dreams. So basically what ended up happening is when he found out, he actually pulled the string for me to get a tryout with USA Volleyball. And I went to that and made the national development team, the U21 or U19 national development team or whatever it was. And I actually moved to California, stayed on my uncle's couch, and that was my first round of I'm gonna be a professional beach volleyball player. That one didn't go as well. It went good, I learned a lot, but I ultimately ended up moving home because it's very expensive. Beach volleyball players don't make a lot of money, so I had to come back and figure it out again. And then I moved to California again on a whim. Stayed on couches, couch surfed, but all I did was wake up every day, train again. Finally got to a place where I got a place out there, got a job out there, and I would wake up and train from probably about 6 to 8. I would go coach from like noon to 4, and then I would go work at a restaurant until anywhere from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. And then I would wake up and do that whole thing again. And that's kind of what it took. I wasn't thinking at the cost of it, you know. It's just, yeah. So. I don't know my vert, especially right now. It's definitely not what it used to be. But at that same USA high performance tryout that I told you about, the one thing they loved about me was that I touched 12.5 in the sand. I'm blessed with a pretty great wingspan, which helps me out a lot. But yeah, there was a time where I wasn't good at basketball, but I could dunk and rebound and all that. But I could always jump. That's something I could do like 360s, all that stuff. I can't do that no more, so don't ask me. But yeah, there will be probably not very little jumping today. Anybody else?
You want to jump in competition?
No, I won a box jump competition. and it was, I forget what the height was. I think it was 50-something inches, which is like, you know, up here, flat-footed, no approach. And what I found out later was it was like 4 inches away from the Guinness Book World Record. I never tried it again, but I did win a box jumping competition. That's funny.
Where's the coolest place you ever played at?
My favorite place to play is still over on the west side of Michigan, Grand Haven. One of the coolest places that I played at, we played in the infield of a Indy car racetrack while an Indy car race was going on. And that was pretty cool. I don't know, do you remember anything else that was cool, pretty cool that sticks out? I've been kind of all over. Columbia was fun. We're planning a trip to play an FIVB, which is the World Tour, which I'll play against all the other countries and all that sort of stuff. We're going to Geneva to play in July or June.
June 25th.
So yeah, see, she knows better than me. So we're going all over. You know, the best place probably to play is where beach volleyball started, which is called the South Bay. It's a suburb of LA. It's Manhattan Beach, Hermosa Beach, and Redondo Beach. It's the mecca of beach volleyball. It's where volleyball started, and it's probably still my favorite place to play. We play once a year, the Wimbledon of beach volleyball. It's called the Manhattan Beach Open. It's pretty insane to see the amount of volleyball courts and the level that they have going on in that community. I would say probably 90 to probably 95% of the professional American indoor and especially beach volleyball players come from that neighborhood, not the state, not California, but just that neighborhood. It's the highest level of volleyball that you're going to find. Redondo High School, Maricosta. There's some other schools too, but historically those are two of the greatest places to play. Anybody? We all good? Cool. Well, I'm gonna hang out with you guys for a little bit and jump in a little bit, mess around. Don't expect too much. I got a little neck injury going on, so.
You want to see the 50-inch vert?
Yeah, let's see your 50-inch vert. Yeah, you can. I'll show you a picture, but that's all you get. Yeah.
Have you ever considered like trying to play in like the Olympics?
So for the Olympics, I've been pretty close, and I say that relatively. Only the top 2 teams go. So that's 4 people for a sport that has a lot of people in it. The closest I've ever been in a US ranking is like 17. So right now I'm at like, you know, I'm old, so, you know, I'm at like 40 or 35 or something like that. So I've pretty consistently stayed in the top 50 guys throughout my career, which is good. So, yeah.
Do you always have the same like duo, like
partner?
Yeah.
So, you know, to get into these tournaments, let's just say you and I wanted to play in an AVP, right? You and I can sign up together, but you don't have enough points for me to get into the main draw, which is like golf. You got to make the cut, right? In golf or tennis, you got to get into the draw. So essentially how it works is it's kind of like a merry-go-round or Survivor, where all these guys, when it comes to the tournament registration deadline, they're all scrambling to find partners and who's going to be able to play with this guy. So I got to get this guy because we have more points than those guys, so we'll be in the main draw. Now the top 8 teams, they typically don't switch. I'm kind of in the top 15 teams. So there is a little bit more switching where I'm like, well, I don't want to go and play the qualifier for this tournament, so I'm going to pick up Braylon.
Yeah.
I'm going to pick up Braylon because Braylon's got more points than Parker. He's got more points than Parker, so me and Braylon are going to play. But for the most part, you play with the same person, but you can switch anytime you can. Cool?
Yeah.
Wait, so how do you get those points?
By playing, so the tiers go like this. There's AVP Next, which are regional. You know, you can go to ones in Michigan or Ohio or Indiana, right? They have them all over, and you can get points. Those points won't necessarily get you into the biggest one, but it'll get you into the next one possibly, which is in AVP Contenders. And then that Manhattan Beach Open we talked about is the highest tier that they have in the AVP, and that's a heritage series. Right now, there's only 4 or 5 of those events a year, so it's really tough. And they only take the top 12 teams in the United States into that tournament automatically. Everybody else has to fight for 4 spots. So that's 16 teams that play in a tournament. They only let 12 in automatically, and hundreds of guys are trying to qualify for this event. So it's kind of a dog-eat-dog situation. I've been grateful enough I've been good enough to make it into these tournaments consistently, if not automatically in these tournaments, for the last, I don't know, 10 plus years. So it's definitely been a grind, but I mean, like I said, the experiences that I had along the way, dude, I mean, there's people who work their entire lives to experience the things that I get to do on a weekly basis. The places I get to go, the beaches I get to see, the people I get to hang out with. There's people trying to afford that by working every day, and here I am cruising on through, getting to play volleyball while I go there. It's like kind of hard to understand, right? But I'm saying if you treat life in a way where you're trying to become something rather than get something, then I feel like there's no doubt that it happens to you too. So, in whatever capacity. It doesn't mean you gotta go play volleyball, but you take that experience and use it in whatever way you can, right? Cool. You guys ready to practice or what?
Yeah.
All right, let's go. Enough of this sitting around. You guys should probably all grab a chair, right? Where should they put them? Oh, over here.